Visualization is one of the major keys to remembering information. Now, this is a really revealing item because Ramosha Feinstein is telling us that he would value the information because it's Hashem's Torah, and he would visualize information. How do you do that? Well, actually, if you look carefully, you start to realize, oh my gosh, the vast majority of Chumash and Nevi'im Rishonim is all picture. Think about it. If you look at Chumash, just for example, if you take Chumash and you divide it according to the chapters, I'm not the biggest fan of that, but let's say you do that, right? Now, out of the 187 chapters in Chumash, there are actually about 209, but almost 20 chapters, which are only one or two psukim, so I'm not counting those if you don't mind. So out of 187 chapters of the entire Chumash, guess how much is storyline and how much is just technical information, which is mitzvahs, and no apparent sequence or organization of those mitzvahs in those chapters. Because the answer to this question, how much of Chumash is storyline and how much is Tariq mitzvahs and only Tariq mitzvahs, you're going to realize that the vast majority of the Chumash is a story. And when you know that, you can replay it by visualizing it in your mind. And the more creative you are in that visualization, using your imagination, if I'm going to give you, and you're going to see soon, 50 files, that's all you need to master the entire Chumash. 50 files for the 50 prokim of Chumash Bereishis. You see, Shmos only has 40 prokim, Vayikra 27, and Bamidbar 34, and 36, sorry. Go back! You forgot! And you're teaching memory! How can you tell people the wrong information? Start again. In the Chumash Bereishis, you have 50 prokim. You never have more than that for the rest of Chumash. In fact, all of Nevi'im Rishonim, that's Yeshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, and Malachim, also never has more than 50 prokim. Oh, so you only need 50 simonim, which are going to be used in different ways in Shmos, which has 40 prokim. And you're going to use the same simonim in Vayikra, which has 27 prokim. And in Bamidbar, which has 34 prokim. Sorry, 36 prokim. You did it again. You did it again! Then Bamidbar has 36 prokim, and Dvarim has 34 prokim. Oh, so you never have more than 50. So you're going to use the same 50 simonim to be able to follow the information that's taking place in each perek associated to that simon. Out of 187 prokim in Chumash, only 7 are just mitzvahs. You got 3 in Mishpatim and 3 in Kiteitzei. You could argue also Perek Yutes in Vayikra, but otherwise, guess what? It's all storyline. There are some chapters where the story is broken, but the entire chapter is about one subject. So let's say Perek Aleph in Vayikra is the Korban Oila, Perek Beis is the Korban Mincha, Perek Gimel is the Korban Shlamim, Perek Dalet is the Korban Chatais. So it's organized information in that Perek. Oh, interesting. You see, once you know the structure of Chumash, and it's a storyline, you can easily visualize it. Oh, but one moment, guess what? If you've got actual pictures, and I'm going to show you, we have a picture. It's a stick figure picture of every perek in the entire Chumash. Oh, and if you've got other materials to help first graders, second graders, third graders, and certainly older, to see the information encapsulated in one perek, in one picture, and then use a memory system to be able to hook, connect, link the information of each perek to a simon. Because you only need 50 simonim for all of Chumash and Nevi'im Rishonim. That's amazing. That's all you have to know, 50 simonim. And we're going to see you can use the same simonim for learning Mishnayos and Gemara. So imagine a first grader, or a second grader, or a third grader being able to identify all the information in every single perek in the entire Bereishis. How does a kid feel about himself? And you know what, I want to share with you what I see here as the most important piece. It's not showing off what the kid knows. I would say that's bonus. I want to say in a gaivitic way, it's not bonus in the sense that it's showing off. The actual mastery of information is tafel, is secondary to the main bonus part of all this, and that is the love for learning. If a child knows up front, I know I'm going to be able to remember it because I've been given a system to retain, recall, review, guess what? Their whole learning self-esteem changes. It's a different relationship to learning. And that's what we start off with, learning with a love for learning. Oh, that's a whole different type of learning. And that's exactly what we want. We want the learning to be with Ava. We actually beg Hashem every morning, Ha'ariv no, please make it sweet, delicious. Make learning delicious. Oh, that's what it's really about. So I'm going to give you an example right now when, if you look at it, how I can visualize the Chumash. I'm not going into the details right now, we can do that too, but right now I'm going to give you demarcation lines. Take chapter 1, Perek Aleph of Parshas Bereishis, which is part of Chumash Bereishis, and if you ask yourself, you know what, let's look 31 psukim, let's look through all the psukim. Oh, you got creation of the universe, light and darkness, heaven and earth. Okay, now we've got the splitting of the waters on the second day. Oh, third day, we've got the land formations and the seas recede. Oh, fourth day, you've got the sun, moon and stars. Oh, the fifth day, birds and the fish. And sixth day, you've got the animals, the creation of man, and then Shabbos. So now, if you're going to ask yourself, okay, what would be one line, one simple sentence that encapsulates, summarizes the entire Perek? A simple answer would be Brias Olam, 2 words. Brias Olam, creation of the world, creation of the universe. Oh, so now you've got your one line, which is a summary line for 31 psukim, 31 verses. In 2 words, Brias Olam, or in English, creation of the universe. Wow. Hey, that's very economical. Now that doesn't mean to say it's going to substitute the actual learning inside. No, there's no substitute for that. But this is a way to give a filing system for your brain to know where to find information. Perek Beis, chapter 2, is a description of Brias HaAdam, creation of man. Chapter 3 is the entire story of the Nachash, with the Nachash persuading Chava to trust in me, just in me, close your eyes and trust in me. And Chava falls for it and eats from the tree, shares it with Adam, and then Hashem says Ayeka, and he curses the snake, Chava and Adam, and all that's in chapter 3. Chapter 4, Cain kills Hevel. And all the details associated to chapter 4, which are part of chapter 4, the bringing of the carbon of Cain and then Hevel, and then Cain becoming jealous because HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepted Hevel's carbon and didn't accept his, and Hashem gave him a whole Musa Shmuz, a real chizuk, when he says, Lama Charalach, why are you angry? Lama Naful Fanecha, why are your facial expressions so depressed? And he says, you know, if you want, you can really be Moshelba. You can take control of the Yetzer Hara, even though he's waiting to pounce on you. But you can control him. Wow, what encouragement. Where is all that? Oh, it's in chapter 4. We're going to have a simon for it soon. But what I'm sharing with you is all these details are really visual. There's a story taking place. And even as you tell the story, I'm not doing it in a very vivid way. I'm not actually reading you a story with any pictures, but in your mind, you're recreating the story. You are visualizing the story. And the more words that I use that are adjectives to describe the sequence and what's happening, the more your mind is engaged in reconstructing the story visually in your creative imagination. In fact, think about it. Isn't it amazing? HaKadosh Baruch Hu only gave us 3 mitzvahs in the entire Chumash Bereishis. The vast majority of it is all storyline. So a child in their first introduction to learning Chumash, of course they learn the first few psukim of Vayikra, so they should come and learn Tahara from the Shamas, which are still Tahar, but they're learning through Bereishis all the way till Vayechi. Oh, interesting. They're learning storyline. But before they learn Chumash, guess what? They've already been hearing about the story in Parsha, in preschool, and from their older brothers and sisters at the Shabbos table, Tati, Mami, asking questions with the Parsha sheets on the weekly Parsha. Oh, interesting. So the children have already been visualizing in their creative imagination the storyline before they get to the text, which itself will give more meat and more detail to what's going on in the sequence of the unfolding of events. And as you move forward, you'll see, you've got 10 generations from Adam till Noach, and then you've got a warning to destroy the world, and then we're now into Parshas Noach, and Noach gets instructions, Perek Vav, to build the Teva, and then the flood in Perek Zayin. What I'm building here is a simple case, and that is, it's all visual. So when Rav Moshe Feinstein said he visualizes information, that became my first, wow, really? How do you do that? And then when I started thinking about it, oh, it's not so complicated. The Chumash is a story. And not only that, Nach, Nevi'im Rishonim, it's all story. When you get to Yirmiyahu, Yeshayahu, Yecheskel, it's more complicated, it's more poetical language is introduced. Tehillim doesn't have any storyline in the typical sense. Mishlei is proverbs, metaphors, but essentially, Megillas Esther, oh, that's a story. Megillas Rus, oh, that's a story. Oh, there's still Divrei Yamim, a serious chelik of that is still repetition of the storyline of Tanakh. Oh, so there's a serious proportion of the entire Tanakh which is really storyline. And that's an important advantage to take into consideration when we want to reconstruct the storyline with Simonim. The other part of this is that Mishnayos is mostly storyline. Not typical as is in Chumash, but think about it. If you start looking at the words and reconstruct what it's describing, you'll start to see a story unfold in your brain. First Mishnah. From when can you start reading the Shema in the evening? Not much to visualize over there. It's an abstract type of question. Oh, visualization starts kicking in. When can you read the Shema in the evening? From when the Kohen comes home to eat his Truma. Now, if we're going to learn the details, where was the Kohen before he came home? Oh, he was in the mikveh. Why? Oh, he became Tameh. Oh, and now he needs to go to the mikveh just before Shkia Sachama. Can you see the sun going down? And the Kohen coming out of the mikveh just before Shkia, before sundown. He's drying himself, dressing himself, walking home in Eretz Yisrael. It's about 18 minutes between Shkia and Seisa Kohavim. He walks into his house right at Seisa Kohavim at nightfall, 3 stars, and now he can eat his truma until 1/3 of the night, according to Rebbe Eliezer. Oh, ad chatzais, according to the Hachamim. Oh, ad amud hashachar till Ram Gamliel. Oh, and there's a Maisa, a whole story there with Ram Gamliel's sons coming home from a Beis HaMishta, from a party, a wedding that finished 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And they, oh my gosh, I forgot to say Kriyat Shema. Is it too late? Well, the Hachamim say ad chatzais. And Ram Gamliel, that's my tati, he's the Dayan. Oh, and now you have a whole story inside the Mishnah. You start looking at Mishnayos as a visualization, the words actually can come alive. And then what you do is select key words that will be your triggers to see the structure of the Mishnah. So essentially, if you were to take this first Mishnah, which is in Perek Aleph, Mishnah Aleph, which we're going to see soon, Be'ezrat Hashem, a simon for how you're going to remember 1-1, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. So if you took Kriyat Shema, Kuf Shin, it's an abbreviation. An abbreviation is not the actual information, but it's an abbreviated form that triggers off the rest of the information. And you're talking about nighttime. So Kriyat Shema, if you want to put the word Laila, you could. And now you've got 1/3. It's a fraction representing Rebbe Eliezer. You've got 1/2 representing the Hachamim, Chatzais. And you've got Amud HaShachar, Ayin Hey, representing the opinion of Ram Gamliel. Oh, so now all you've got is 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to the Mishnah, and you've got the entire structure here. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, at least I think so, and that is in brain research, in understanding how the brain connects information. What has been found, and you'll see why this is actually true, and it's your experience as well, that the average brain doesn't need a system to remember 3 items because it's only 3 items. Kriyat Shema, 1/3, 1/2. Well, fractions, 1/3, 1/2. Okay, so yeah, I can see the sequence. Kuf Shin, 1/3, 1/2. Okay, fine. Ayin Hey, Amud HaShachar. But once you hit 5 or more, between 5 and 8 items, the average person needs a system. After 8, almost everybody can't remember 8 items in sequence without a system. You remember the link system with tefillin and chumash and the tape recorder and the pencil case and the Shabbos hat? Do you remember the funny story we made in between? Oh, that's a linking system where you can have up to 20, 30, 40 plus items. I did this when I used to work with kids in a classroom setting. The average number of items we get to is 63 items without anyone getting out. Oh, really? Yeah, because kids have an amazing creative imagination that they can link and link and link with funny stories in between. And you can go up to 10, 20, 30, 40 items. And you're developing the mind to pay attention to unusual details. That's all creative imagination. But over here, what I'm sharing with you is something very interesting. Why is it that phone numbers are never more than 4 digits? What they did with phone numbers is break it down into bunches of 3 digits for the area code, and then another 3 digits in the middle, and then the last 4. But 1 second, 3 plus 3 plus 4, that's 10. Yeah, if you add the 1 before, that's 11. Oh my gosh, you got 10 digits there. How would you remember that? And you see, your brain is not asked to remember 10 items. Your brain is being asked to remember 3, and then take a break, and now remember the next 3 as a completely new set, different set, and then the last 4. Your brain can do that without a system. So that's why it's possible to memorize phone numbers. If you've got a system, wow, you're going to be able to fly. You can memorize as many numbers as you like. In fact, just as a slight parenthetically, there's a book written by a Josh Foyer, fascinating book. He was a journalist, I think it was for the New York Times, and he went to write an article based on an event known as the Mental Olympics. Really? Yeah, there's such a thing as the Mental Olympics. And what is the Mental Olympics? You've got athletes, mental athletes, who come every year under Tony Buzan. He's a very famous person who's developed a lot of memory systems. He's the one who initiated the Mental Olympics, and there people are memorizing the most ridiculous, ludicrous trivia. So, for example, they had a competition to memorize the number of digits after point for pi. So 3.146, etc. So one athlete was sure he was going to win because he had spent almost the entire year memorizing to 50,000 digits for the pi. Oh my gosh! Now, he was almost suicidal by the end of the competition because a 16-year-old Japanese lady beat him by 83,000 places. Oh my gosh! Someone actually spent time memorizing 83,000 digits for the number of pi. Oh my gosh! Now, I can understand why he would feel so depressed and suicidal, but you know what? What's that a statement of? Forget about the trivia part, but what's that a statement of brain power? So Josh Foyer, the author of Moonwalking with Einstein, I'm not saying you have to get it, he happens to be Jewish, and he wrote about his bar mitzvah, and he writes about the Tersh Baal Peh, the oral law, which is very interesting. But here's where it's absolutely fascinating. He said to them, you know, you guys have a major advantage because you all have photographic memories. So they laughed at him. They said, no, we don't have photographic memories. He said, well, of course you do. How can you be memorizing such enormous amounts of pieces of information? They would have 32 playing packs, which would be shuffled, 32. And then they would be laid out in sequence, and you had X number of minutes to memorize every single card in sequence, and then close your eyes and say the whole sequence. And they did. And that's very impressive. Wow. Memory feats. So he accused them of having perfect memories and said, no, 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 we don't have photographic memories. Very, very, very few people actually have photographic memories. They explained that these are all tricks. They're all strategies. And that's really actually MS. It's really true. It reached such a point in the conversation that Tony Buzan, the one who started the Mental Olympics, actually told Josh Foyer, in fact, you could join in next year as the American candidate, and you might even win. So he laughed it off, but 3 months later decided to take them up on the challenge. And guess what happened? He won! Oh! And he wrote a bestseller, made a lot of money on the bestseller. He won, learning for the next 9 months, only a few hours a day, the memory techniques that shows that nobody has a bad memory. Very, very few people have a really poor memory. Very, very few. I think it was less than 1 in 1,000. There's not good and bad memories, there's trained and untrained memories. Yes, your memory is a muscle. And that's what Josh Foyer was trying to demonstrate through his book. Anybody can do this with knowledge of the strategies. So interesting that phone numbers only work with bunches of 3 or 4. So what happens if you come up with 3 or 4, max 5 items that are abbreviated code words, if you want to call them, or trigger words, or simanim in the words of Chazal, that break your Mishnah down, and now you've got the whole structure of Brachas, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. And you can do this with any Mishnah. You can do this with the Gemara as well. You could break the Gemara down again, learn the Gemara with the almanas that you're going to organize the information. So your brain is already knowing in the back of it, as I learn, that I'll be looking for key words to sequence together, and then I'll be able to say outside the Shagli Bataria, the sequence of unfolding of the conversation, of the logical argumentation, etc. Then if you have a simon for the page number, you attach it to that simon. So now I'm going to share with you a strategy known as mental palaces. And what does that mean? You already have in your brain dozens, if not hundreds, of filing systems waiting to be filled. What does that mean? Take, for example, the layout of your home. You are so intimately familiar with the driveway, with the front door, and what happens after you open the front door, what's on your right and what's on your left. You know the location of the umbrella stand, if there is one, and maybe a coat cupboard on your right as you walk in. And then after you've walked through the front door, you see the steps going up to the second floor, perhaps on the left. And to your right is your father's study. To the left of the steps is the dining room. The dining room joins to the kitchen. I mean, you are intimately familiar with some of the smallest details inside your home, your bedroom, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, the bathroom. And there are places, you know the exact sequence as you walk through. If you were to walk around the room, you could tell me with your eyes closed, where's the dining room table, how many chairs, you might probably remember, what pictures might be on the wall, the cabinets, if any, or Sforim shelves, bookshelves. If it's your kitchen, you know, oh, here's the milky countertop, oh, here's the milky sink, oh, here's the island in the middle of the kitchen, oh, here's the cabinet where milky, meaty, parev, oh, here's the meaty sink, meaty countertop. Oh, you're so familiar with all this, and those are places that your brain already has filed. What happens if you now take a new piece of information that you want to remember, and you take that information and you place it in these different locations? And you do it in a funny way, a weird way, a strange way. The association, that key word, which is what memory really is. Memory is association. And the more powerful the association, like with Twin Towers, the more out of the ordinary, the more unusual, extremely unusual it is, the better your memory. A little bit unusual, you'll have an okay memory. If it's extremely unusual, you'll have an extremely good memory, because your brain has to create a whole different new file, which you'll easily be able to find because there's never been any other experience that you've ever had that matches Twin Towers. Baruch Hashem. And if you make a ridiculous, doesn't have to be violent, but it's just really absurd association between taking anything you want to remember and placing it in your room, in the dining room, in the kitchen, what ends up happening is that you can easily retrieve that information. And that's called mental palaces. The Greeks used this and the Romans used this, and Chazal told us about simonim. They didn't tell us what to do with the simonim. I once spoke with Rabbi Pogro Shlita, who's the master behind mastertorah.com. You have to go to that website. He has Kol HaTorah Kula there. He's got thousands and thousands of free downloadable shiurim on every perek of Mishnayos, and he has, I think, over 70,000 questions on all Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, all of Mishnayos. He's got all of the Rambam and shiurim, and you got all the information there for your whole curriculum. And I asked him about this. You know, he's finished Shas over 30 times. I hope that's okay to say in public. He's only barely 41 years old, I believe. Finished Sidrei Mishnah over 600 times. So when I asked him, you know, when Chazal gave us simanim, They didn't tell us exactly what to do, and I was curious to know what his take on that was, and he said it's very simple. Every mind is different, and so you can get trigger words which Chazal are giving you, but how you personally associate those trigger words, where you're going to put them in your brain, depends on your mental palace or your mental mapping. Depends on how you're going to make an association. Every person's association should be their imagination, because my imagination might work for me, and it might work for you, but it might also not. Your imagination might have a different association between tefillin and Chumash and the tape recorder, etc. Oh, so it really should be yours for you to own it. And that's why Chazal didn't give us what to do between the simanim, how to connect them, because that's your imagination, it's not my imagination. Oh, interesting. So visualization works in Chumash, in much of Nach, and much of Mishnayos. I would actually venture to suggest that of all Mishnayos, the hardest ones are only Pirkei Avos and Hurrius, because Pirkei Avos is mostly abstract. The rest of Mishnayos, vast majority is visual. Once you start visualizing how the words are describing physical scenarios. I think probably at the time that the Mishnah was written, my speculation is the easiest Masechta for kids to know is today's hardest Masechta, Kalim. Not because it's 30 prokim, but because there are just so many names of physical items that you and I are not familiar with. So there's no place in our brain to visualize what that object is being described as. But if you were a child living at the time of the Mishnah and it's describing Kalim, which become Tameh, and how to be Matahir them or how you can't be Matahir them, the names of all those different Kalim was easy for you because you experienced them in your household, in your farm, on your agricultural lifestyle, in the town, in your shul. All these were objects of description that you were experiencing on a daily basis. And so I would venture to suggest that Kalim was probably the easiest of all Masechtas for a child to memorize and to remember, because it's all visual. For us, it's not visual because we don't know what we're talking. We don't know what the Kali looks like. You need Rabbi Deutsch, for example, of the Living Torah Museum, who actually helped massively with the Masechta Kalim in Art Scroll, to show us many of the Kalim which he actually has in his museum. I suggest you go there for lots of other reasons as well. But that makes it come alive. That's why his museum is called the Living Torah Museum, Torah's Chaim. It's all about making Torah alive for us. So visualization works in Mishnayos, and it works for Chumash, and works for Nach. So now I'm going to give you an example of how fast you can remember a fairly large amount of information in a short amount of time, and that will give you the experience of realizing that this can and really does work. And if you adopt it for yourself and for the children that you're teaching, or homeschooling, or for your own kids at the Shabbos table or on Shabbos afternoon, you're going to help the children not just remember information that they're learning, but also have a different relationship to learning. They enjoy it at a whole new level. So I'm just going to ask you to play along with me for a few moments as I use some of the mechanics that we've been speaking about, the principles, and I'm going to apply it to a memory system. This memory system works on the following. Gun, or some think that's too violent, prefer the word son, rhymes with one. One son, one gun. Just get it into your mind that we're referring to one son, one gun, son gun, one son gun. Okay, they rhyme. Clear? Good. That was painful or painless. Two rhymes with glue. Have you got that clear? Two rhymes with glue. Glue two, glue, glue two. Three rhymes with tree. Three, tree. Four rhymes with door. And it's not just rhymes that we've chosen for the first 9 items. We're going to do 4 or 5 right now, maybe 6. I think 5. But it's also the fact that each one of these is a noun. That means it's a picture in your brain. And you can easily visualize. We're not choosing a word which is abstract. And if we were to choose a word that's abstract, we would have to choose an icon or a picture that represents that abstract concept. So for example, if we chose the word love, we would have a heart, for example. So now the heart means love, and everyone knows that's an international icon. Number 5, is hive. What's hive? As in a beehive, right? I'll just quickly do number 6 because you're going to see this will give us a whole parasha in the Torah. So 6 rhymes with sticks. 6 sticks. 6 sticks. Okay, quick chazara, quick review. What is 3? Tree. Very good. What's door? 4. Good. What is glue? 2. Very good. What's hive? 5. Excellent. What's 6? Sticks. Good. What's 1? Sun or gun. Okay, very good. Now what I'm going to do is show that what we've done is created 6 files of items that you're already familiar with, and because they rhyme, it's easy for you to understand that tree represents 3, glue represents 2, door represents 4, etc. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put information inside those files and see how well you do on a quick quiz. Hold on tight. Chapter 1, sun, gun, Hashem created the universe. So we're going to do 6 chapters of Parashas Bereishis. Parashas Bereishis takes up 6 chapters. 1, sun, let's use sun because gun is too violent for some people, even though I think the story for gun is much better. How many suns are there in the solar system, in the local part of our universe? Oh, 1 sun. How many suns did Hashem make? Oh, 1 sun in our solar system. Rhymes with gun, rhymes with sun. 1 sun, 1 sun, sun 1. Oh, creation of the universe in chapter 1. Because Hashem made 1 sun when He created the universe. Oh, to chapter 1, sun. Chapter 2, glue. Just imagine, this is my silly story, just a silly association. This is not what happened. We're just trying to create in our minds creative imagination to associate new information to what we already know. We already know that clue and two, glue two, two glue, glue two, two glue, glue two, rhyme and are representative of each other. Oh, so in chapter 2, creation of man. So in my silly story, this is not a medrash, this is not pshat, this is just my silly story. I see myself gluing a man. The arms, have you ever glued a little model of aircraft? Or here I'm going to glue a man that comes with glue, and I glue the arms into the torso, the legs, the neck, the head into the neck. Can you see yourself gluing? Creation of man took place where? In chapter 2, glue. Oh, very good. What happens if we're going to make this easier for the children with actual pictures? Oh, so you've got 1 picture for the sun, and you've got another picture for glue, and you've got another one for tree, rhymes with 3. Oh, what happened in chapter 3? Well, in chapter 3, Chava ate from the tree. Who was in the tree in chapter 3? Oh, the Nachash was in the tree, and she was persuaded to eat from the tree. Oh, so chapter 3, story of the Nachash. Chapter 2, creation of man. Chapter 1, sun. Oh, creation of the universe. Very good. Chapter 4 rhymes with door. Oh, what happened in chapter 4? So now this is just my silly story. This is not what happened. We know that Cain killed Hevel in chapter 4. My silly story is I see Cain pulling off doors from its hinges, very heavy door, and bangs it on top of his twin brother, gets a headache. Hevel doesn't quite ever recover. So where will I remember that Cain killed Hevel in chapter 4? Chapter 4 rhymes with door. Just a silly story, just in the imagination to click in the new information to what I already know. 4, door, door 4, I already know. 4 is door, door 4. Well, it rhymes. Oh, that's easy. Oh, but I didn't know where Cain killed Hevel. Oh, so we're going to put that in chapter 4 because you got that file already. Oh, chapter 4, door. Quick Chazara. What happened in chapter 3? Tree. Oh, Chava ate from the tree because of the Nachash. Very good. What happened in chapter 1? Sun. Oh, 1 sun. Hashem made 1 sun in the solar system. Creation of the universe. Very good. Glue. 2. Oh, what happened there? Oh, Adam was glued together. Oh, yeah, you see yourself putting a man together in a kit. Oh, very good. Chapter 5 rhymes with hive. What happened in chapter 5? Well, in chapter 5 of Parashas Bereishis, 10 generations from Adam till Noach. And they lived a long time. In chapter hive, 5. 5 hive. You stay alive for a long time. In chapter hive, if you eat a hive, you have a long, long life. In chapter 5, Adam Rishon, he died 930 years old. Oh my gosh, that's a long time. Noach was 950. Lamech, his father, was 777. His grandfather, Mr. Shelach, was 969. Oh, wow! What about Hanach, 365? Whoa! They lived a long time. How do they live so long? Silly story, not what really happened. They knew the secret that if you eat a hive, you stay alive. You don't have to eat the bees in the hive without the bees, just the honeycomb inside the hive. Eat the hive in chapter 5, you stay alive, chapter 5 hive, for a long time. Oh, okay. Quick Chazara, quick review. What happened in chapter 1, son? Creation of the universe. 2, glue. Oh, creation of man. Glue them together. Chapter 3, tree. Nachash tree, Chava, ate from tree. Oh, very good. 4, door. Cain killed Hevel. 5, hive. 10 generations from Adam till Noach. Did they live a long time? A long time. You stay alive in chapter 5. If you eat a hive, you stay alive. Chapter 6, sticks. In chapter 6, sticks, what happened? Well, Hashem warned mankind that if they don't do teshuvah, if they don't come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and stop their aveiras, Hashem is going to destroy the world. So I imagine a massive stick in the sky being waved to mankind. I'm going to destroy you if you don't behave. So chapter 6 sticks. Oh, warning of global destruction. Global destruction warning in chapter 6. Sticks. Now watch this. I'm going to open up the Chumash randomly, anywhere in the first 6 chapters. That's quite a few hundred words, almost 1,000. Don't look. I don't want any cheating. Now watch this. Don't look. Vayeyu kol yimei Adam asher chai 9 shana u'shloshim shana v'yamayis. And the entire days of the life of Adam were 930 years, and then he died. Who can guess which chapter that's in? Very good! Chapter 5. How do you remember that? I didn't teach you that pasuk. Okay, don't look. No cheating. Don't look. Don't try to figure out where I'm turning the pages. Okay, don't look. I just want you to, okay, don't look. Vayem Hashem lo yadun ruchi ba'adam le'olam b'shigam hu basa v'hayu yamav 120 shana. I can't tolerate men that much longer. Until now, he would now live only till 120 years. Hanafinim hayu ba'aretz b'yamim ahem. Whoa, where do you think that might be? Talking about destruction of the world. Oh, interesting. 6 sticks. Very good. Don't look. I'm looking at a random over here. Okay. The Hevel Hevi Gamhu Mibchayra Sinai. Oh, you figure out before I finish the pasuk. Let me finish the pasuk. The Hevel Hevi Gamhu Mibchayra Sinai. Hevel he also brought from his flocks, and from their fats. V'yisha Hashem el Hevel vel minchasai. And Hashem turned to Hevel and his mincha, accepted his offering. Vel Kain vel minchasai lo yisha. But to Cain's mincha, korban, he did not turn. Vayicha leKain me'oid vayiplu panav. Cain became extremely upset, and his facial expressions just fell. He was so depressed, so down. Oh, chapter 4 door. Very good. Don't look. Aha! And Hashem said, let the waters beneath the heavens gather together, el makom echad, to one place, v'tera'eh hayabasha vayichen, and the dry ground will be visible, and it was so. Very good. One son. Very good. Many of you may have been figuring out the pasuk, which parak it's in, before I finished the pasuk. Well, here's my question. I didn't teach you where those psukim were. So how did you figure it out? And the answer is, before now, and when I say before now, I'm referring to 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago. You didn't necessarily have a filing system in your brain. You have a lot of information there, but the brain hasn't organized it or associated it. Do you remember? Learn, organize, associate, recall. Oh, so you've learned the information, but it wasn't necessarily organized in files, in this case in prokim, associated to a simon, 1 gun, sun, 2 glue, 3 tree, 4 door, 5 hive, 6 sticks. Oh, so now what your brain did automatically, with no effort, without me teaching you, your brain went and sorted out hundreds of pieces of information that's already there and put it in the correct file so that when I read that pasuk, your brain figured out the context where it would probably belong. Oh, interesting. So it really does work. This is information you already have, but the brain hasn't got a specific place for it. But the moment you designate files, and it's easy and it's funny, and much of the time when you're learning this, you're actually enjoying it because you're laughing. So what ends up happening is that the children who would have had a low learning self-esteem, what triggers off in their brain is, maybe I'm not so stupid after all. And if the old voice used to say, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm slow, I'm not very smart, I'm not clever, I'm not as smart as the other kids, I don't have a good memory at all, and I start not enjoying learning, I start not liking learning, I start hating learning, I start not caring about learning, and slowly, gradually, I go from wanting to learn to the minus side of the zero and hating it on different levels, -1. I hate learning -2, -3, Rahman al-Islam. And what ends up over here is that in a matter of minutes, not weeks, months and years, minutes, a simple strategy of a memory system, which I've been giving you the mechanics of before we did this, but if you just fly in, jump in with your kids, with this memory system, guess what happens to the kid who's got a low self-esteem in learning? I can't learn, I'm not smart, I'm dumb, I'm not as clever as, I'll never be good at this, I'll never remember, and their brain starts shutting down. And I'm guaranteeing you they are not just smart, they're gifted in at least 2 or 3 intelligences, at least. But if you're going to hit them with spatial intelligence, pictures, you're going to hit them with language intelligence, words. So you're going to have an actual word for each one of these. Sun and glue and tree. Oh, you got language intelligence with spatial intelligence. Spatial intelligence is visual. Hive, 5. And you're also going to have, besides this, guess what? You're going to have numbers. Oh, math. Mathematical intelligence. Yes, math is a real intelligence. So what happens when you've got actual numbers? And you're going to matrix in a few moments, you're going to see how this works. Oh, 1 goes with gun. And you'll put the number 1 underneath numeral 1 as well. And then 2, oh, that's peric base, will go with glue. So what I'm sharing with you is a child who is usually seen by others and even himself as unintelligent, academically not smart. But I'm here to guarantee you he's smart and if not gifted in some other intelligence. It might be visual, spatial, mathematical, language. What happens if you get him to move his body? He's got to place these out himself. Oh, that's kinesthetic intelligence. Oh, you're going to be having about 5 intelligences in just 1 activity. Guess what's going to happen to the kid who thought he was stupid, unintelligent, not smart, not clever, not as good as, not as intelligent as the other children? Guess what's going to happen? He's going to have a new voice that says, wow, in 6 minutes I learned 6 prokim and you quizzed me. In some cases I was telling you the parak that verse is in before you finished reading the pasuk. So the old voice says, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm unintelligent, I'm not as smart as, and the new voice says, well, if that's true, how come I just learned 6 prokim in 5 minutes? Oh, and slowly the new voice starts to take over the old. Not based on, good job, my praise. Well done, you're so smart. That's dangerous in the sense that it could be artificial pumping. And the kid, in his mind, does he really believe it? Or does he say to himself, nah, I know I'm not smart, I'm not clever, I'm stupid. Oh, but over here, he experienced success. He saw that I still, oh my gosh, I remember after 5 minutes, you told me a simple system, and now I remember these psukim where they are. What happens to his internal motivation? What happens to his self-esteem? Lower or higher? Oh, and what happens if we have lots of ways to reinforce the same information? This is called a string wrap. What's a string wrap? Well, it's quite simple. We'll do this real quick. 4, we'll start up here. 4 rhymes with door. 2 is the next one, rhymes with, oh, glue. 3, oh, there's 3. So you've got math, you've got sequencing, that's also math. You've got language. 3 rhymes with tree. 4, 5 over here rhymes with hive. Okay, there's 5. Hive. 8 goes with gate. 1 goes with gun. Oh, sorry, it's gun over here. 7 is heaven. 6 is sticks. Okay, that's cute. All right, how do I know if I got it right? Turn it over. Ha-ha! If you got all the items right, guess what? It will show you on the lines. Do you follow? Interesting. You can have lots of games and activities where the kids are playing. Here's the same one. Exactly the same, except that it's a different sequence. So you've got 3 cards for every 8 words and numerical equivalencies. And on the back, the child just checks to see, oh, it corresponded to the lines, I got it right. Oh, so it's self-correcting. And you got this for all the gematrias, we've got it for vocabulary, but here's right now for the memory system. So now I'm going to share with you how this is going to look on a table where you start matrixing out one parsha at a time, and eventually you can have on one table tennis table, for example, the entire Chumash Bereishis. Then the child will have a picture of every single perek. So I'm going to show you before you join me to see the matrix. This here, for example, is the entire Parshas Bereishis. Perek Aleph, Perek 1, Sun, picture of sun, creation of the universe. And here's a picture of that perek. Remember I mentioned earlier, we have pictures of every single perek in the entire Chumash. Here I'm holding the entire Chumash in one hand. Perek Aleph, creation of the universe. Perek Beis, creation of man. Simple stick picture. On the back is the title, creation of man, and also you've got which parsha it's in, Bereishis, which chapter, and a breakdown of the major points, the main points inside that chapter. So you've already got a summary here. We have this in English, we have it in Hebrew. Oh, number 3, who's in the tree? Oh, it's Chava is eating from the tree. Who's in the tree? Oh, it's Nachash, Mr. Nachash. Oh, here you've got Cain killed Hevel. You can pick out anywhere you want. And let's say, here's a random. Oh, here you've got Perek Yud Beis of Parshas Lech Lecha. You got Avram Avinu leaving with the camels. You see the blue arrows at the bottom tell you which direction to go in. There are 3 major events taking place in Perek Yud Beis. Avram Avinu in Lech Lecha. Then in the same Perek, he arrives in Eretz Canaan and it's a famine. Can you see underneath my finger is a depiction of a famine? And then, because of the famine, he goes down to Mitzrayim. And Paro, you see the picture of Paro? Oh, he takes Sarah to be his wife. Oh, so these are 3 major events in chapter Yud Beis. And all the basic information is on the back of the card. So you've got the entire Chumash in stick pictures. And what the children will do is matrix. That means they will sequence the pictures with all these cards here. So you've got language intelligence, mathematical intelligence because you're sequencing, mathematical intelligence because of the numbering. You've got language intelligence because of the words. You've got the spatial intelligence because of the pictures. You've got kinesthetic intelligence because you're moving your body as you place the things out. Because the child's not sitting passively listening to the teacher and hopefully learning. He's doing the teaching to himself. Oh, interesting. And you've got a control book for the child to be able to check if he got it all correct. And this book covers the entire Chumash. Open up anywhere you want. Here's Bamidbar. 4 prokim in Parshas Bamidbar. Move a little bit further forward. Here you've got Parshas Shlach Lecha and Kairach. Only 3 prokim in each. Oh, so it's all laid out here. Makes it much easier for the child to go and check his work against the matrix. Have the child take a photograph. Have the kid print it out. Have a printer in the classroom if you can. And then what they end up doing is take a photograph of their matrix of Parshas Bereishis and then Noach and then Lech Lecha, and they can make a book or a banner. And they can take that home or put it into a portfolio of the materials that they're creating. How does the kid feel about himself? That he knows what he knows and he's learning the map of the Chumash. I call it a map because it really is. Let me show you. Ta-da! Map of Chumash. Yeah, the entire Chumash on one page. Bereishis, Genesis, 50 prokim, and a brief description of what's in every perek. Shmos, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Dvarim. Oh, all on one page. This is what we are injecting into the mind of the child, so they've got the picture of the entire Chumash. We have a wall chart version. I'm not a big fan of wall charts, but this is good as reference. Oh my gosh, the same thing in wall chart size, but I like the idea of a small map because it kind of brings it down to biteable size. And that's really what we want the children to realize, that I can conquer the Chumash. I can conquer having a filing system so that all future information that I'm going to learn about the Chumash has where to go. And that's going to help recall. So we've talked about learning, no substitute for that, loving learning, visualizing your learning, organizing it, figuring out a simon, a trigger word, which is what is the system that Chazal offer us, our sages, and then associating the trigger word to a funny story, and then R is recall, and that's the law of memory. Voila, here you have Parshas Bereishis from Perek Aleph, Beis Gimel Daled Hey Vav, ends here. Noach continues in Perek Vav into Parshas Noach. So you've got 1 Aleph, sun, and then a picture of creation. And the child then has to match which strip as a label matches the picture and the event that's being described. You got your second file, 2 rhymes with glue, Perek Beis, picture of glue. Adam is created, creation of man. There's your strip label. 3 rhymes with tree, it's in Perek Gimel. Here's your tree, and here's the nachash in the tree, and the label, the snake. 4, door, Perek Daled, here's your door, and Cain kills Hevel. There's your strip. 5, hive, chapter 5, 10 generations from Adam till Noach. 10 generations of Adam. 6 sticks, chapter 6, Hashem warns there's going to be global destruction of the world, end of Parshas Bereishis. And then 6 continues, Hashem told Noach to build the teva with sticks, with wood. Okay, building of Noach's Ark is in chapter 6. 7, guess what came down from heaven? 7, heaven 7. Oh, the Mabul. Oh, the flood. So you've got the picture of the flood, and you've got the picture of heaven, word heaven, Zion, 7. 8 rhymes with gate. 8, gate. The teva landed on Mount Ararat. Really Mount Ararat, but we're calling it Mount Ararat because it rhymes with gate. And Noach opened the gate of the teva in chapter 8. Gate 8. You can make the story a bit more funny. I'm not going to go into that right now, but I'm just giving you the basic concept. Here you have the simon, which is gate. And you know that rhymes with 8. If the child knows the gematria, 8 is ches, so he knows it's Perek Ches, and you make the funny association to the simon. Here's your simon, gate, and the picture. You visualize the teva on Mount Ararat, and then you can label it. So this is the concept of the child being able to work in multiple modalities. You've got visual, you've got auditory, you're saying out the words, you're moving your body, you're placing the cards out. Eventually you can have the entire Bereishis in one nice long table. Chapter 9 rhymes with wine. Guess what Noach drank in chapter 9? That's right, he became drunk, so he actually drank wine. Here you've got the rainbow, the teva, rainbow, Noach drunk. And now you've got first 9 chapters of Bereishis. 9 chapters of Bereishis? 1 second, that's almost 20%. Really? Yeah. Because 10 chapters, which you're almost up to, is already 20% of 50. Oh, wow. And for that matter, you can use the same simonim for Shmais, and Vayikra, Bamidbar, and Dvarim, and Yeshua, and Shoftim, and Shmuel, and Malachim. So you'll apply exactly the same thing. So you'll have in chapter 3 tree, for example, in Shmais, it's the same simonim, different association, because the information there is different. So you're going to have a picture of Moshe Rabbeinu by the snare, which is also similar to a tree. Oh, so in chapter 3, you've got Moshe Rabbeinu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaking to him through the snare. Chapter 4, door, you'll have Moshe Rabbeinu coming back to Mitzrayim. 5, hive, you've got Parai telling everyone, go get hay, go get straw. Hay, oh, chapter hay, 5. Oh, cool, that rhymes in chapter 5. Okay, so you're going to use the same simonim but different story because it's different information. So this is how you can have children memorize a lot of information in a short amount of time, and it'd be a lot of fun. They're going to be playing with the string wraps, they'll play with dice, and they're going to be playing with the fortune tellers where they're going to have lots of different activities, learning the same thing again and again and again in lots of different ways. So hold on while I bring out the dice and the fortune tellers. Okay, so here are some examples of the materials we have for the children to be actively participating with their hands, with their mind, visually, auditorily, kinesthetically, in order that the memory systems start penetrating at a much deeper level, because each child, B'dar Kai, in his or her way, is going to be able to understand the information. So for example, we have, as you will recall, the Yedids. We renamed fortune tellers Yedids. So this will get folded into this over here. And as you know how you play fortune tellers, you'll have a partner. We'll put our little fingers underneath here. Assuming the children do know gematria, you'll ask your partner to choose a number. He might say Dalet, and he has to tell me what that is. Oh, it's 4, good. So I'll go Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Choose a number again. He might choose 5, okay? Pick up 5 and tell me what is 5 in the rhyming game that is memory. Oh, 5 rhymes with hive. Very good, let's see if you got it right. And sure enough, oh, here you've got a picture of a hive. So there's your Yedid. We call it Yad Yad. Yedid is the name for our fortune teller because Yad is one hand, Yad another hand. Yedid is made up of 2 Yuds, Yud Yud. So you need 2 Yidden with 2 hands to play this game. Oh, so you got it right. Good, now it's your turn. And he'll play it. He might choose an 8, or I choose an 8 rather. And oh, it comes out 8 gate. Yes, you're right, 8 gate, 1 gun, etc. So we've got Yedids for the entire memory system that will help the children know numbers 1 through 50, because with those numbers, they'll be able to have a filing system in their mind for chapters 1 through 50 of the entire Bereshis, entire Genesis. And they're going to use the exact same filing numbers and pictures for all 40 chapters of Shemais and 27 of Vayikra, because it's a filing system. And you don't need more than 50 items for a filing system to give you the entire Chumash and all Nevi'im Rishonim. And for that matter, most of Ksuvim and Nevi'im Achronim as well. But right now we're just dealing with one example of the Yedids, where the children will be playing games. Another game we have is playing dice. So one child will throw the dice and it lands on Mummy. So my partner has to tell me Mummy is 33. Why is it 33? Well, in the actual game, and he can always check, oh, M is 3, yeah, M is 3, and O is a vowel, so that doesn't count for anything in this system. Oh, M comes up again, so that's another 3, oh, so that's 33. I'll throw the dice another time. Oh, lands on Moon. Oh, Moon I think is 32. Let me double check. M is 3. O are vowels, they don't count. N is 2. Oh, 3, 2 is 32. Very good. At a more sophisticated level, if the children already know what's going on in chapter 33, then they'll be able to say, oh, in Parshas, oh, that's where Vayishlach, oh, that's where Yaakov and Esav reunite in chapter 33. Oh, very good. What took place in chapter 32? Oh, that's when the Malachim went up to Eretz Yisrael and came down from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. Oh, that's in chapter 32. Oh, very good. We'll take another dice. Now it's your turn. You throw the die. It lands on rain. R is 4. A and I are vowels. They don't count. N is 2. Oh, rain is 42. Oh, very good. What happened in chapter 42? Oh, that's when the Shvatim came searching for Yosef, really looking for grain, but really searching for Yosef, came down to Mitzrayim, and when Yosef pretended that he was Mishnah Melech, well, he was Mishnah Melech, but he didn't tell them he was their brother. Oh, so that's when the brothers came down to Mitzrayim and they were first accused of spies. Very good. That would be at a more sophisticated level, meaning to say the children already know what's going on in that chapter, 33, 32, 43, etc. So those are 2 activities. Another activity, again, this is when the children are really up to it, you've actually got the entire Chumash over here. We've got a strip, and you can open up any strip you want, pull out the strip, and ask, it says here, generations of Esav. So if your partner knows, oh, that's chapter 36. So he'll tell you immediately, oh, that's chapter 36. If you're not sure, you'll just go to the map of Chumash and check number 36. 36, generations of Esav. Oh, very good. Okay, you got that right. So that's another game that children will play with these strips over here for each chapter in the entire Chumash. Another game is to actually take the equivalent pictures of the entire Chumash. Again, you'll open up any way you want, and you've got a picture here of the destruction of Sodom and the daughters and Lot's wife running away, and that's in chapter 19, chapter Yud Tes. On the back of this is a non-control version, meaning you can't tell, you have to be sure that you really know it. In which case, if you're not sure, you'll go to the map of Chumash and check on it. Number 19, Sodom destroyed and Lot is saved. Very good, you got it right. Another application is the same idea, but kind of in reverse, where you will read out any Indian from a particular card. This is chapter 33, where the brothers reunite. You'd read out, Esav travels to Mahar Seir, Yaakov travels to Sukkot. These are clues, and the other kid has to tell you which chapter that's in. Let's choose another one, because we had that one already. Here's, Yehuda travels ahead. Another clue, Yaakov and Yosef embrace. So if you know that's in Resh, R is 4 and 6 is Sh, so Resh, that's 46. So if you know the memory system, which you will by this point, you'll know that in 46, that's what took place. So the child has to tell you back what happened in that chapter based on the clues you're giving him. So these are different activities to have the children learn the memory system and cue it into the information that particular simon represents. Another example, which the kids have a lot of fun with, is the string wraps. So 9, actually that rhymes with wine, that's easy. 10, if you know that, is toes, so we go down to here. 11 is date. D is 1 and T is 1. A and E are both vowels, they don't count for anything. So DT is 1, 1, so that's 11. Okay. 12 is tin. T is 1, N is 2. I doesn't count because it's a vowel. So tin is 12. 1, 2. 13 is tummy. There we are. 14 is tire. 15 is tail. 16 is dish. And let's hook it up there. Now, the child does this on his own, doesn't need a partner, because it's self-correcting. How does he know if he got it right or not? Turn over the string wrap and see if all the strings match up to the lines behind the string wrap, he got it right. So this is one of the ways to reinforce, once he's learning the actual memory system, what's going on in chapters 9 through 16. He's learning here the simonim. Once he knows these simonim, the simonim are good for all of Chumash and Nevi'im Rishonim, and later on for Mishnayos, because he will use date, which is 11, for Perek Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. He'll use tin, which is 12, for Perek Aleph, Mishnah Base, because 12 is 1, 2. Perek Aleph, Mishnah Base. Tami is Perek Aleph, Mishnah Gimel. So he's got a system which is a index, if you like, of pictures, which immediately translate in his mind as numbers. Tami is a picture. We have pictures for a tami, picture for a tin, picture for a date, etc. So the child is going to be playing lots of games and activities whereby they will be reinforcing all the numbers 1 through 50, which is preparation for then filling in information in those files, 50 files, for all of Chumash Bereshis, and then Shmos, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Dvarim, etc. I did forget one more application. I do apologize. So I'm going to give it to you, and this is the last one. This takes a lot of work. Taking the Chumash and splitting it up into strips, putting them on colored pieces of paper, and then laminating it all, and then blindfold the child and have him, put his finger inside and figure out, let's take one of the strips out. Okay. ותאמר לה העבד, מי האיש על הזה ההולך בשדה לקראתנו? ויאמר העבד, הוא אדוני ותיקח הצעף ותתכס. So this is, and you translate the pasuk. This is the pasuk with Rivka, who, when she first saw the Eved of Avram, which was Eliezer, and he took her to marry Yitzhak. Now she, for the first time, sees Yitzhak. She asks the Eved, who is this person? And she falls off the camel when she hears it's the master, she's about to marry herself. So you read out the pasuk to your partner, and he has to tell you where it is in the Chumash. So if he knows this is in Bereshis Perek Chaf Daled, you say, okay, let's check. And hopefully on the back it will actually give you the answer. Oh, Chaf Daled, very good. Should we do one more? Vayikra Hashem Elokim El Adam Vayom Eloi Ayeka. Oh, that's too easy. All right. And Hashem, the power of all powers, constant power of all powers, said to Adam, Vayom Eloi, and said to him, Ayeka, where are you? Oh, so if you know, chapter 3 rhymes with tree. And you remember the Nachash in the tree? And the whole story in chapter 3 of Adam being thrown out of Gan Eden because he ate from the tree, and he got a whole bunch of Einshim, as did Chava. So if you know this is in chapter 3, check the back and see if it says Gimel. Yay! It says Gimel. Okay, we got that right too. So this is just a great way for the children who, as they start learning the Psukim inside, and they're learning the storyline of Chumash, and they're learning Tarek Mitzvahs within the storyline, they're learning the history timeline of beginning of creation until Tchias HaMesim, so that when they're learning an individual pasuk, they know the context of this pasuk, they know which perek it's in which part of the Chumash. What does that do to a child's self-esteem? What does that do to a child's ability to say to himself, I can learn and I can find information, I know where the information is? And what ends up happening is, because you've got files in the brain, 1 sun, 2 glue, 3 tree, and you know what's going on in each file, and it's a funny story that associates it, so they'll pick up a pasuk, and lo and behold, they're able to tell you which perek it's in. That's a great sense of mastery, that I'm learning the sequence and the chronological unfolding of the story inside Chumash. So these are some of the benefits that are taking place by having materials which the children can be engaged in and play with when really they're learning.